I didn't get much video when we were putting up the sidewalls because I had a few friends that were over and it was going to rain later in that day, and so we were just really trying to knock it out as quick as possible. So once we got started, it just kind of didn't stop. But I wanted to show you a few things that we did. I wasn't going to at first, but I ended up putting some screws in the bulkhead area, and also where the rear cabinet, galley cabinet's at, and then also on my flooring system as well. I put some screws there because that really helped hold it and cinch it together, along with some pull clamps, and I will show you how we kind of set those pull clamps up here in just a second. These are the pull clamps that we used to cinch all this together here. I had several on. Here's one in the back too. I just picked these galvanized poles up, Home Depot. Same with these pull clamps here. And I found that a lot easier than trying to deal with ratchet straps or whatever else. Those came in real handy. I had 4 of those. So I've been working on my interior cabinets here, and I was going to put some drawers underneath right here, but after I got in it and realized that I wanted a little bit more foot room, and not to mention how much storage I have underneath, I just decided to go ahead and not do a drawer, and just kind of build these up a little bit higher to give me more foot room. So pretty much all I'm doing is just going with 2 cabinet doors, and then this one here is just going to be an open area. I'll probably put a shelf in there, and just to kind of throw stuff up there real quick. So and I'll show you some more on the inside here. Alright, so what I did on this style here is on this side right here, on the back side, I cut, since this is 1/4-inch plywood, birch plywood, I cut a little groove with my router so this would sit flush. So that's how I did that. And it kind of had some areas in the back here that had a little bit of a gap when I did that, because I did that back here too. So I just made some wood filler with some glue and some sawdust to try to cover that up, make it look a little bit better when I go to stain all this. So that's pretty much pretty simple cabinets, and I'm gonna move on. Probably what I'm gonna do is throw my mattress in here and temporarily put up my ceiling, and then that way I can visualize a little bit better where I want to put my I'm going to do something simple on that too, the cabinet, more of a shelf up there. Thought I'd show you where I'm at on this cabinetry on the interior foot end. I've gotten the middle pieces up here. I just cut those to fit, put them in. I still got a little bit of work to do just to kind of fill them in a little bit, make them look a little bit better. I'm not going to put any on the ends of the sides or here on the back. You can see the style up here. I'm just going to leave that as is. I don't think it's a big deal. I got some cabinet doors, some pre-made cabinet doors that I'm going to put on there. I still have to put the hardware and everything on those, sand those down and stain them. But so I'm just going to leave that as is for right now. I'm going to move on to the shelf in the front area there. But I will show you one mistake that I made. I mentioned earlier that I had put a little groove on this style here so this countertop would sit nice and flush here. I forgot to do that underneath here. I don't know how good you can see that. But what that did was, if I were to go put this up here now, it's going to leave that lip. So probably what I'm going to end up doing is just putting some slides out here, some trays, and that'll help cover that up. But I'm going to worry about that later, and just going to keep on moving along here. I have temporarily thrown up a piece of ceiling there because I wanted to see on my interior here how high I needed to put my shelf. I was going to put like some cabinets and everything up there, but I think I'm just going to do a shelf now. I got plenty of storage room in this thing now. As you can see, I left out that piece right there. That's because if I need to make anything that needs to curve along with the ceiling, that's going to be my template right there. And then also, as you can see here, I got about 16 inches of foot space down there with my, this is a 6-inch mattress. So that's kind of what the interior is looking like so far. And right now I'm going to lay down in it and then kind of decide how high up I want to put my cabinets or my shelf. There's actually going to be a couple lights on that shelf as well. I'm going to put some power, you know, USB 110 plug. Same thing goes for this middle cabinet here. I'm going to throw in a USB charger and a 12-volt cigarette plug lighter and 110 for the back here. So I'll get around to that eventually, but this is where we are at right now. I threw my mattress in here, and that's it folded up underneath my interior cabinet. I didn't plan for that, just kind of worked out. I wasn't even thinking about it, so that's kind of a plus if I want to throw anything in here as well. So when I had this laid down, I laid on top of it and kind of sat up a little bit. That way I kind of knew how high I wanted to put this up, so I wouldn't be hitting my head as when I got up out of bed. So this is going to be a small shelf. I mean, it's only going to be about 5 or 6 inches, but that should work out. Like I said, I just want it for quick storing items, just to throw up there real quick. So there you go. I've been looking at how I want to build my shelf here, and I've kind of come up with the idea of taking my 1/8 inch quarter-inch dado and making a line all the way across here. That way my shelf will fit into that, and that'll support that all the way across the front. And doing the same thing here, so that'll support the sides. And I got this set up here so I can trace this and cut off my rail here with the curvature of the teardrop. So that leaves a couple things that I'm going to have to deal with after that. One would be I'm going to have to drill a hole for this to come up in and sit underneath here like this. Which these are going to need something to screw into, so I'm thinking maybe I can grab and do something like this and then screw that up to there like that on each side, and then I'll just have to take some plywood and partition that off. That's one thought. My other thought is I was going to put in some USB and a 12-volt charger, and also just like a regular 110 plug. So I'm thinking maybe mounting these over here somewhere on the side now, maybe this over here, and then maybe like my 110 on the other side. I think that might be the easiest thing to do right now, and then I'll have to run my wires somewhere. They just need to get to this channel here somehow, and then that's all going to run to my box here in the front. So that's what I'm working on right now. Going to see how that works. Hopefully it works out all right. Okay, I'll show you where I'm at right now. I have taken my router and dadoed this out 1/4 of an inch. And the same thing with this. And this is going to go right here, like so. And then so my plywood, when I get that cut, is going to sit in there like that. And that'll ride in there like that. And that'll support all of this. So I'm about to cut my plywood and then test fit it and see how it looks. Alright, I went ahead and slid my shelf into my dados here, and I glued them up. Also put a couple of brad nails in the front here. And then for these, what I did to make sure they were square, I put glue on them and then just stapled them here, then stapled them here. And then also for excuse me, my light, this is going to go up in here. Like so, and sit flush. And this is about 2 1/4 inch, and I have a 2 1/8 inch, so I had to kind of play around with it to waller that out a little bit. And then for this, for my square, for my light switch, I just took my jigsaw and cut that out. So I'm about to move on to the next one. Then after that, I'm gonna sand this down and then stain it. Maybe should have done that beforehand, but it's all right. It'll get done. So let's keep on moving on. All right, I've got this shelf installed here, and I got both my lights here. And then, like I said, it's not very deep, maybe 5 or 6 inches. Good enough for just throwing your keys up there, or cell phone or something. And then I still need to wire for the 110 and the USB and the 12-volt plugs, but I'm going to do that later. So I'll just keep on moving on the rest of it and show you that when I get to all that wiring. I've started on my interior cabinets, and I got one of these done here, and I put a push-turn knob on it so it's latched. Push it out, it's still latched. Turn it, and there we go. I put some padding on them here. Then I got the soft close hinges, so if I were to close this now, it goes down like that without slamming. And then it's real close. This was kind of hit and miss on my catch here. I had to cut this down and then do a little grinding to finally get it to where it would work. So I kind of have to turn it to get it to close, but it still latches, and with that padding on there, it doesn't shake too much. So I'll get started on this other one over here and kind of show you the steps I took to get it done. I've started on this other cabinet door, and it's going to be a right side hinged door. So what I'll have to do is, I have this Euro jig here. I'll put the link for it in there. It just kind of helps you line up where you're going to put your hinges. And the hinge, to do this, you'll need a Forstner bit, and it's a 1 3/8, and that'll make the hole for your hinges. And then also I have this push turn style knob here, and the hole for this cutout is a 1 1/4 inch. So I'll make those cuts, I'll line everything up, and I'll show you after it's all done. I've taken my jig and I made my holes here now. So what I'll do is I'll take these screws, screw them in so it holds this in place. Now I just grab my Forstner bit and go down flush to the jig. Take my jig off. Now I just need to go flush to the Forstner bit to the hole here. Now my hinge will sit in here flush like that, and we are good to go. I have both my holes for my hinges done now. So now I need to flip this over and determine where I need to put my knob here. And once I get all that marked out, I'll show you that. I have this marked out, and now I just got to put a hole through it. So now that goes in there like that. on these interior cabinets here, I'm going to have a slide out underneath here in this middle partition here, and I want to be able just to pull that out, throw a laptop on it, maybe sit some drinks or something, whatever. But I got it set up over here, and I'll show you real quick how I built that. Alright, so on this I just wanted to pretty much flat on the top. I left a little bit of a lip here around the edges just to keep maybe not knock something over or slide off real easy. I got my rails here, so this will extend out, and what I did is I took my maple stiles that I pretty much made with my interior cabinets, and what I did here on my stiles was pretty much just take a 1/4 inch dado bit on my router, and then I just made that all the way down. It pretty much took one 8-foot piece board to kind of make all of this. So that goes all the way around here on the back as well, on the sides. And then I took my slides here and mated those together like so. So now all I need to do is grab my little bit of glue, put all this back together, put some pole clamps on it, and that should be good, other than staining it and putting it up in there. But that's where I'm at on this right now. I've gotten all this put back together now. Got it all glued up, and then I threw on some pole clamps, and so let this set up. Tomorrow I will stain it and install it on the interior cabinet in there. I got this sanded down, and then I went ahead and stained it, so it's pretty much complete now. I just need to install it, and that'll pretty much complete my interior, except for a few things, and I'll show you those as I go along. So next we are going to move on to putting on the roof, or the ceiling, and the spars, and a little bit of the wiring, and I'll show you that as we go along.